Hi there, is my audio okay?
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Glenn, for dropping in to...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much for the 5-day resource your life purpose journey. And for those of you who have not met Glenn before, he is a very talented marketing media manager, not only for Bend It Like Buddha, but also other brands, other wellness brands. And Glenn, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I see a few people from my side. I'm not sure if I'm seeing everyone actually. Hey, can you hear me clearly? Just
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So my name is Glenn. I've been working with Farah for quite some time now. I'd say over 3 years. Is that right? Roughly. Okay. Right. So I work with Farah as well as other wellness brands here in Bali and other places. I have a few clients in the US, Australia, Canada. For Farah, obviously, she's in. Are you in Portugal at the moment? Yes.
Yeah, I'm in
Okay.
Portugal.
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. So I do have clients in the wellness as well as in the yoga industry. So I
Awesome.
help my clients with marketing as well as strengthening their brand's presence online as well as offline.
Amazing. So Glenn is an expert not only on social media, especially Facebook and Instagram, but he's also an expert when it comes to managing and tracking and advertising on Facebook and Instagram. And he has some recommendations and best practices that he would like to share with you. And yeah, I'm so excited to have Glenn on the call because whenever you come visit us here, for one of our challenges or courses or workshops, I always come out of it super inspired, and then I'll learn a little, technique that is very helpful and useful. You collapse time, which is awesome.
Yeah, I'm thrilled. Yeah, especially now that Facebook has changed dramatically in terms of how to create ads, how to position yourself, how to add in your audience and whatnot. So it has changed drastically in the past weeks. So yeah, it's a great thing that we have this chance to kind of sit down and discuss as to what changes have taken place, or for those who have not yet run their ads in the past, this would be kind of like a good start for you guys to do so with the new interface that they have and with the new procedures that they have on Facebook as well as Instagram. Okay, right. Should we start now or? Okay,
Sure,
great.
that would be awesome, Glenn. That would be awesome.
Great. Yeah. So once again, good day, everybody. I'm not sure which time zone everyone's in, since we're very international. So good day to all of you. Today, what I will be discussing is how to run lead generation ads on Facebook. As I mentioned a minute ago, the interface, the process on running this has changed dramatically. Now it is so much easier as compared to 3-4 weeks ago. So Facebook has made setting up ads for new marketers to be kind of like a walk in the park, as opposed to before, which was slightly trickier. Now, before I proceed, I'd like to ask as to who's familiar or who's tried using Facebook or Instagram advertising in the past. You can raise your hand. Okay, Salid, I was slightly confused. Was that a yes or was that a no? Okay, right. Okay, so no one's ever tried or even played around with it? Okay, all right, okay.
Little posts, but not like proper ads. So not proper advertisements, but little posts.
Okay.
But not anything like serious.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And as well, I'm fine with posts as well. I'm posting a lot, but never advertised before.
Okay. Of course, no worries. So as far as businesses nowadays, may it be in the wellness or any other industry, a lot of the businesses have transitioned from, having a physical shop to online. And because of this sort of rapid change in the way businesses work, advertising online, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Google, whether it be Instagram, is essential, because obviously, since we don't have a physical shop, or we don't have an actual, place to advertise, most of the clients that we're trying to get are obviously mostly online nowadays. So I would say it is really essential to kind of have a basic knowledge on how to run an ad on Facebook or any other platform that you'd like to run an ad at, may it be Google, may it be Instagram or whatnot. So just a quick sec, let me just share my screen with you guys. Oops, it's disabled at the moment. While Farah's trying to enable the screen sharing, may I ask, both of you have Facebook pages in place, is that right? Okay, perfect. Okay. So Facebook page in place, you've started posting on Facebook and Instagram as well, if I'm not mistaken? Okay, perfect. Great then. Okay, right. So let me get straight into it. Let me just share my screen real quick. Okay. Thumbs up if you're seeing my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Great, perfect. Okay. Now, obviously, if you have a page on Facebook, you would be seeing a slightly different sort of setting on the page. You'd be seeing this one right here. There's a left pane instead of, the typical interface if you have on your personal profile on Facebook. Now, if you may have noticed while you're playing around your Facebook page, you'd see that you have an ad center. Mine slightly looks different because I'm an admin of the page, but I don't exactly own the page. But yours would have a slightly different sort of user interface here, but then you would still see the ad center. Okay, so if you go onto Ad Center, what it is really, it's where you could create your ads, where you could check on how your ads is performing. You'd be able to check on the results of the ads as well. Let me open that for you. Previously, the Ad Center was slightly sort of challenging in a sense that you'd have to click on so many tabs, but now it's pretty much just one click and you should be able to run an ad as quick as possible. So what I'll do is let's try to create a sample ad. 1 second. So you just click on create ad. Facebook will sort of guide you on a step-by-step process as to how you'd want your ad to target people and how you would want your ad to be like when you run it. So as you can see, it's very straightforward. It would ask you as to what would be your goals, whether you want to get more messages, whether you want to get more phone calls, get more website visitors, if you want to boost a post, meaning to say if you want engagement such as likes on your pictures or video or comments in your pictures or video. If you want to promote a page, if in case you're still starting with your page, you want to try to reach as many people as you can, this would be the best option that you have, which is promote the page. This is not specifically to promote a specific post, but it's more of like the general page itself.
Hey, Glenn, can I just, can I just add something
yes, sure.
about this topic? In the challenge framework that I teach with the yoga teachers, the entrepreneurial teachers, I teach them how to organize their time before they launch. And so for 3 weeks or so, it's a good idea to, give free content that will help their potential audience. So when I'm in the 3 week or 2 week promotional phase before I launch, let's say a free challenge, usually I would use, a broader purpose, not conversion ads or not, well, sometimes I would use lead ads for collecting emails. Can you sort of just touch base on what ads we should be using when we're
Absolutely.
trying to grow our audience for the first time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
So let me go through the sort of this goal options, and I will then move to as to what would be the best ads suitable for what sort of ad campaign you're trying to run. Okay. So move forward, promoting your local business. That is if in case you have a physical store. If you want more people to visit your store, then you choose this option. Get more leads. It's very straightforward. If you want to get email addresses, you want to get a record of people who may be interested in your business. Now, as Farah mentioned, to answer your question, if what you're initially trying to do is to grow an audience or to let people know that you exist, that your business exists, what I would initially suggest, what I would highly recommend, to be honest, is promoting your page. That is the very, very first one that you want to do. So this is the very first ad that you will want to run initially. So
I would totally agree too. That's what I was doing before I met you as well, was getting people familiar with the Bend It Like Buddha brand.
Exactly.
And not even asking for a conversion, not asking for a sale or anything like that in the beginning, because it's developing relationships with your who, and starting relationships with your audience and your dream students, essentially.
Exactly. So you wanna get your brand out to as many people that may be interested as possible. So you want to promote the page initially. Obviously, you want to consider the content that you're putting out on your page to target your who. You want to make sure that you have content that is relatable to your who on your page even before you try to promote the page. So that's step one, promoting the page. Then obviously, once you have gathered a substantial, it would be up to you. You want to try to target, say, once you've reached, say, 500 people who's liked the page, who's followed the page, and you can move forward to nurturing that audience that you've already acquired. So then you can move on to a different goal. That may be getting more website visitors, if in case you already have a website in place, or you could try to get more messages if in case you would want to interact with your who on a more personal basis, or you could try to get more leads at this point. But obviously, as I mentioned earlier, it would be good to kind of like have a clear goal as to how many likes or how many followers do you want to have before moving forward to the next step, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And it reminds me of the importance of this nurturing phase that we're talking about. Delivering free content for your who, alleviating the pain points and alleviating problems for your who, coming up with solutions for your who, creating high valued content and something that's going to make a difference in their lives. And you're meeting your who, and you're not necessarily the goal isn't to make a sale per se or to get a registration. It is extremely difficult as a brand, any brand, to receive a sale immediately after somebody sees your Facebook ad. So please keep that in mind, that there needs to be a nurturing phase with your list of people that you have, whether that's emails or a Facebook group. Would you agree with that, Glenn?
100%. Yeah. So every time I actually do ask Farah to kind of like help me out with the copy of whatever posts we may be posting across social media, I ask her as to a certain factor that would agitate the pain of the who, as well as address the problem or beliefs of your target audience. And then, as I mentioned, as she mentioned, rather, you want to show them the solution to that pain. So all of these things does not necessarily need to go to an ad, but rather once you have a set number of audience on your Facebook page or on your, if you have a Facebook group, then you could always throw out these things And like you could throw out a pain on Monday, and then say on Thursday the same week you could throw out a solution to that pain. You'd kind of like nurture your audience this way. Do you guys follow so far? Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Do you have any questions so far before we move forward with the next step? All good so far. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Right. So as soon as you are done with promoting your page, as I mentioned, you could choose whichever goal you think would be suitable as your next move. What I'll be discussing today is how are you going to be. Oh, just before that, do any of you have a website in place already?
I do have a website, but it's not finished yet. But it's online, but Google can't find it yet. But it will be finished soon.
Okay. And Ari, do you have a website in place already, or?
Currently, it's being built. So it's a process. It started this week. So
okay, perfect. I mean, there's no rush with Facebook and Instagram already kind of like it can serve as your storefront. If you have a Facebook page, if you have an Instagram page, you could obviously use it as sort of your business front. You could always take orders from Facebook. You can connect it to a Shopify if you want to be able to take orders for, say, yoga classes or whatnot, or say consultation classes. You could always use that. But then once you have a website, that would make more things a bit more professional, because then you could say, for instance, if you want to write about a specific topic, it would be nice to have it on the website as opposed to having it on Facebook. Yeah. Okay. Right. So I think it would then make sense if we get more leads for this example as opposed to getting more website visitors. Okay. Right. Okay. Now, so you pick a goal, and then obviously you just click on the goal that you would want to achieve for the ad. And then you'd be asked, so this is new. I'm not sure if you've seen this far and now. This is really new, actually. I think this is 2-day old, 3-day old, this new thing that they've implemented on the user interface. Have you seen this before by any chance, Farah? Or
I only know about the lead generation where they collect the emails straight from Facebook, and then you can download it on a XCS, like a Excel. But I haven't seen this graphic before. No.
Yeah, it's fairly new. So now Facebook will be asking you if you want to collect email addresses or any other details from Facebook, or if you want to collect contact info from people on your website. So there's these two options now. So for the meantime, let's do Facebook. There you go. It's very straightforward now. It's not really difficult in a sense that it's just click, 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 and then just add the text that you would want to add. So for here, one sec. There you go. Sorry. Right. So if, for example, if you've already done a lead generation campaign, you'd be able to reuse them. But for this particular one, it doesn't show because we've not run a lead generation campaign from this ad account. This is a different ad account. So let's do create new form. But in the future, if in case you want to reuse a form, you could use this option. And if you want to create a new form, you could use this one. So as you've noticed, you'll see that the banner or the cover image on the Bend It Like Buddha Yoga is auto-generated. So that's what Facebook does. But if you want to customize that, you could always customize the images on the lead generation forms.
And just to add to that as well, I love this new style because it's super simple and you're receiving emails on the form. The only problem is it's completely cold traffic. So you have to be a little more diligent with warming up that audience. That's the only downside that I find with this type of ad.
I'd say it is a good sort of it's a good start in finding the people that may be interested in the page. it's not necessarily that they will purchase, but then they may be interested in the topics that you are discussing, or they may be interested in the brand, or if, for instance, on your product, but not necessarily that they will actually convert. So what you can do, once you have the email addresses, once you have the profiles of those people that have registered to the form, obviously one of the options you have is you can run an email campaign where it will be a way for you to nurture them with the information that you send over via email, or you could always get in touch with them via Facebook Messenger or whatnot. That's another thing that you can do as well. So you filter the leads that you receive from this particular campaign to the ones that may convert as a client or a customer in the future.
Before you go to the next page, I see
Sure.
that there's a short answer question. Is it possible to add questions on there?
It is, yes, it is possible.
Okay,
so
that's
you'd also be given the option to auto generate some of the information that are already on Facebook. So for instance, if you want to get their phone numbers, if in case you will be running a call campaign in the future, you could also take that. Just know that some countries may not auto generate phone numbers. One of which I think UK does not do that. You're not going to be able to do that for India, for instance. They change from time to time, so it will be good to kind of like once you reach the end of this setup, you'd be able to see that a specific country will not be able to auto generate some information based on the audience that you're trying to reach. So let's not take on that for the time being. Let's do a very simple one. Obviously, you could add date of birth, gender, job title. So just to be clear, this auto generates based on what's on their Facebook. So if their Facebook profile does not have a job title, they will probably need to enter it manually instead of it being auto generated by the form. Moving forward to Farah's concern earlier, yes, you could add a short question. Say, how long have you been practicing yoga, as an example? Yeah, and you could add as many actually. I don't really recommend adding a lot of questions because that would just kind of like bore the people that may go into the form. You could have at least, maybe I'd say at max 2 questions, short questions.
Yeah, I totally agree, because it's the first time they've ever made contact with you. So you want to make it as easy as possible, right?
Exactly. I mean, if you'd want a really, really targeted kind of like filtered sort of results, and obviously you could put as many questions, but then if you're starting out and you just want to gather as many possible clients in the future, I don't recommend putting questions that may require like a sentence answer. You would rather do like a short number answer or a yes or no. It's quicker, it's straightforward, it's much more easier for them to kind of complete the form. Obviously, if you're targeting different countries, you could always choose the language of the form. So there. You could add a privacy option if in case you have a privacy statement on your website, you could add it on here, or you could add a link. Okay. Any questions so far with this page of the setup? Perfect. Right. So you'd see how it would look like here, as you can see. How long have you been practicing yoga? They enter the answer, and then just click on next. Okay. Now this is where the images are going to be going. Obviously, this is taken from the Bend It Like Buddha Yoga description. This is where your ad copy is supposed to go. So if you have a specific ad copy, you type it on in here. You don't necessarily need to put an email address. This is based on the description from Bend It Like Buddha Yoga. The only reason why I don't recommend putting an email address or any contact information on a lead generation form is that they would feel that they are required to actually contact you manually by email or via phone. So they would rather just, let the ad go, because it would probably take some time from them if there's an email or a phone number. You'd want
Absolutely,
it to be.
yeah. I totally agree. When you are collecting emails for the first time and someone has never heard of you before, you want to make it as streamlined as possible.
Exactly. So, I mean, if you would see an ad and then it would write down an email or a phone number, the number one thing that you would think is that the call to action would be for you to email them or give them a phone call. Not all the people would prefer to do that. So I would rather that you put a creative copy on here as to, say, for instance, if you're running a challenge, what the challenge is all about, what they will be getting, a tangible thing that they will get from the challenge or whatnot, what problems they're trying to solve and whatnot. Put it on here. And then obviously you could choose an image. What I would highly recommend you do, if it will be your first time running an ad, is, are you guys familiar with Canva by any chance? Right. Okay, perfect. You can go on to Canva. One sec. Okay. Go on to Canva, type in Facebook cover. You'd be able to see the exact sizing for that ad imagery. Choose one of them. I've created one earlier, actually. So this specific sizing will be suitable for that. I've created one earlier. Let's pick an image. Let me upload. It's very straightforward now. It's kind of like creating a post even, as opposed to actually creating an ad. Okay, let's pick this.
If I could just ask a question.
Yeah, absolutely, go for it.
But what about the iOS? Do we need to do anything if we haven't already?
What do you mean to say?
The new rules regarding.
Oh, I will touch that as well.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
Of course. Yes, so there you go. Only because Ari was the first one to get online, so I used her name. Right, yeah. So I was making this when you went online. Right. So yeah. So basically, as I mentioned to you, the Facebook cover dimensions on Canva suits this perfectly. You would not need to adjust anything, recropping or whatnot. So this is how it would look like if you were to use the Facebook cover dimensions on Canva. Text copy, imagery of the ad. Obviously, you could add a headline, say, join us. Let's say, do you guys want to suggest a copy for the headline as an example? Ari, this is your ad. You should make a suggestion.
Join us for a joyous 3 days online. I don't know.
Okay.
Put me on the spot.
Awesome. That sounds great.
3 day.
3 day online.
It's too long.
Too long? Okay.
Okay, let's just say.
I usually have to think about these things for a really long time before I get the right correct.
As an example. Let's as an example.
Retreat. Yeah, as a retreat. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Right. The reason why I said it might be too long, because if in case your the text here is too long for the maximum letters that are showing, it would just have a ... which isn't going to be any useful once the ad is running, because you want all of the text to be visible by the people scrolling instead of them having to click it to see more, if that makes sense. so the text that you'll be putting on here really matters. The texts that are visible really matters. You don't want them to, you do want for them to actually click, so people wouldn't have time to do that, or they wouldn't really bother. So right here, you would be able to pick as to what the call to action would say. It's either they apply now, learn more, get code, sign up, subscribe. What I found to be effective is learn more, because there's not much obligation, as opposed to apply now, which is very straightforward. Apply now. Not unless if you're trying to target the people who have already liked the page, or the people you've already worked with as clients in the past, and obviously you could always go for apply now or get code. But what I tend to find really effective if you're trying to target new audience would be learn more. This is, so you click on this if you're trying to run an ad for employment, housing, social issues, whatnot, elections, politics. And then obviously you'd be asked the audience. This will be up to you. What sort of, you guys have worked with this before, as far as like audience targeting on Facebook?
In this course, no. You're the first to show us. Okay.
So it is very straightforward as well. You pick a gender, you pick an age group. Let's say, for instance, you're trying to target people from 25 to 40. You'd be asked to pick a location. Say, for example, you wanna target people from USA. You want to target people from it's really up to you. It would depend on your who. So you go back to your who, see which countries they may be lurking, see which cities they are that you could find your who, and then input it on here. Now, what I would recommend, one of the things, one of the beauties of Facebook ad is you could duplicate the ad to as many ad sets as you can. So if you're starting to run an ad and you're not certain yet as to what sort of audience are likely to be interested in the product, what I would highly suggest is running several ads, maybe 2, maybe 3, with different target markets or target audiences. So at the end of the ad campaign, you would then be able to gauge as to which target audience are the best for you, which would be cost efficient for you in the future when you run another ad. Does that make sense? Okay. So initially might slightly be heavy on the pocket because you'd be running multiple ads, but as soon as you've figured out, this is my who, this is where my money goes, and this is the audience who are going to be investing on my programs, on my retreats, on my online courses. So my money will be back because of this audience, if that makes sense. As opposed to just running an ad with a very, very kind of wide demographic, then it would be really difficult to tell as to where your money should go and which demographic will you be getting profits from. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
Perfect.
I can't see the windows because the way it is on Zoom with the screen share, but we have another guest coming. So I would love, Glenn, if you could share with us the other point that you wanted to make with the new changes, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Or you can, yeah. And the audience part, I don't know about you, Glenn, but it's just super fun for me. I just love this part. Do you? Right. Do you like this part of the Facebook ad?
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoy sort of like figuring out what is the best audience for which client, only because it's exciting to kind of not really predict, but more of like, it's challenging for me to find the people that will likely be attracted to a specific product or a specific service. So I find this really fun.
Definitely. I agree.
Do you guys have any questions so far about what was covered in reference to the audience?
I have a quick question, and it's more
Absolutely,
kind of obviously. But where do you find most of your audience comes from the Bend It Library? Is it more European?
That's a great question.
Or the USA, or is it just completely open?
I love that question. That's like my favorite. So it depends on who your who is, really. It's an infinite number of people, but we as yogipreneurs, it's our job to be as narrow as possible. So we like to target on Facebook ads people that are in our time zones, females within a 10-year range. It's usually around 35 to 45. Sometimes it can be 25 to 35 with each ad. Rarely ever do we do a big umbrella type of ad where we're going for Portuguese or expats living in Portugal, UK, Canada, America, Taiwan. I have, people that I know of, huge market in Taiwan that love yoga. But because the Facebook marketing works in your favor, the more narrow you get with your who. So it really forces us to be as narrow as possible. I don't know if you wanted to add to that, Glenn.
Yeah, another thing is I absolutely agree with that. Another factor to consider is your your servicing time. For instance, if you can only run classes or run challenges at a specific time of day, it wouldn't really make sense to target a country that will not be able to sit down with you. Otherwise, you're just going to be burning money for that, if that makes sense. Because you could always run an ad which is international for different countries. You could do Asia, you could do Europe, you could do USA. But then if you could only sit down at 4 p.m. London up until 6 p.m. London, then unless you are able to hire other people to sit down for other courses for you, then it makes sense. But then if not, then you're just going to be wasting money. So yeah, I agree 100%. And then also I agree when Farah mentioned that it would be recommended to target a niche that is very specific, only because if the target audience that you will be inputting into Facebook is quite wide, what Facebook will tend to do is it will distribute it to a wide sort of audience. In that manner, it would be quite difficult for you to track as to which audience is most profitable. But the workaround for that is, as I mentioned earlier, if you were to run several different ads with micro niches per ad, and then at the end of the ad campaign, you choose as to which niche or which target audience works best for you, and just carry on with that target audience, and that could work. Do you guys follow?
Ari, did that answer your question?
Yes, it does. I was just being more curious, and it does answer my question.
It's a very important question that all of us need to ask, and it really depends on what service you're offering, what product you're offering, and who your who is. And then that's when you decide what graphic you're going to be using, what type of language that we're talking about, message marketing. What words do you use in the copy? You have to reverse engineer it first. You have to think, who is this service for? Who is this product for? And then you do the ad according to your who. This is what we do, but it's different for everybody.
Exactly. But I suppose, like if you're running a course that's for something very specific, like you personally like movement through trauma or whatever like that, then I suppose you have to target on an audience who are ready to take on that challenge in a sense as well, sort of through their own experiences and stuff.
For sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. And time zones, definitely, because I've been attending your class is in the morning at like 3:30 in the morning in Mexican time.
Oh wow.
because of like obviously Lisbon time, it's kind of the morning, but it's like 3 a.m. here, so
Wow.
it's been crazy.
I have no idea how you, oh, yeah, you're an oddball. Although
That's
we
very
have a
true.
teacher in Mexico, so that might work out for you if you decide to continue studies with us. We have
Oh, yeah?
a vinyasa classes in the morning. Yeah, and she
Okay.
does that online for us. Yeah,
Oh, that's exciting. I'll have to investigate that. Yeah.
for sure.
Whereabouts are you, Celine, at the moment? Where in the world are you?
I'm currently in France.
Oh, okay. See, it's very international because I'm in Bali at the moment. Right. So yeah, so it really depends on your who and who are you trying to target. The location is not kind of like a record breaker really, but it's more of like your servicing hours. The part that you would wanna focus on rather is the detailed targeting side of things, where you'd be able to input as to what interests does your who have, whether it be meditation, you could click meditation, for example, whether it be yoga. I've added all these already, so they appear on here, right? So you wanna, for instance, we're trying to target people who are interested in self-healing, who are interested in Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga, entrepreneurship, small business. It would really depend. Like for instance, with Ari's question earlier, do you ask if you were to run a course in regards to trauma? Is that right?
Yes,
Right.
that's right.
Yeah. For example, you want to target people who may have past trauma, or people who are interested in, say, alternative medicine. Or it would depend as to what the event is all about as well. If you were trying to run an ad for an event, or if you're trying to run an ad for the Facebook page. So this is a bit more general, more generic. So there's more interest that you want to input on there, as opposed to an event. It's much more specific. Right.
Could I ask a question, please?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Thank you. I was thinking maybe to organize a French and English class for the British people here in Normandy, because we have a lot. And I will have a student from England. She doesn't speak French yet, so I had this idea that maybe I can doing both, like in English and in French, so they can learn as well the French,
Right.
So it is possible, to target all the expatriation groups or something on the app.
Absolutely, you could always target expats. So, for instance, you could target living in India, formerly expats in India, living in the Philippines, formerly expats in the Philippines. You could it's very smart how you could target expats on here. Let's say, did you say British expats in France? Is that what you?
Yes.
So France, British, living in France, formerly expats. You could always use this one.
Okay.
Yeah. So you could even target friends of expats if you'd want to.
Okay.
Yeah. Or another recommendation I'd have for you, Celine, is you could run 2 separate ads. One would be a French ad, because you want to do a French English yoga, right?
Yes.
On your French ad, you could say on there that the class would be spoken in English and French. And then you could do another ad which is targeted for English speakers, but then you could mention on there that you would also be teaching in French during the classes.
Would be nice to mix people as well. Nice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, the only reason why I think it would make much sense to run 2 ads, because perhaps the aesthetic or the visuals that a French yoga student would have a different sort of interest visuals wise, as well as the copy. Otherwise, your copy would be super long because you'd have French and English. So it would be good to kind of like separate the ads targeted to the French yoga students, and an ad targeted to English yoga students.
Okay. And do you recommend I have a sorry, my English is bad. I
No
know.
problem, no problem.
Actually, I have one group I started like 2 days ago, and I'm very happy because I have like 50 people already.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I could imagine anyway. And do you think I can have another groups for the English speakers, or because do I need just to have one groups, or I have only? Why do I? Sorry, I'm stressed by the
No
line.
problem.
So, what do you recommend? I do have one page in French.
Mhm.
Do you recommend to have 2 pages, one in French, one in English, or 2 groups, one in French and the other one in English? So I don't know how to process that. Sorry.
I mean, in my opinion, I think if you were just to keep one group and then have like an English post and a French post, it's fine. But as far as the ad, that's a different story. Only because once they're already in the group, then they've shown a level of interest. That means they don't really mind if you have English or French, as long as they have the information on there on that group. I think it's okay.
If
So
I could just add,
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, I was saying that I think it will be good to kind of build a sort of multicultural sort of group. I think it's really interesting to do it that way.
I totally agree. And the way that we started out at Kaohsiung Yogi in Taiwan with our group, it was Chinese and English. And so we had one Facebook group, and we would have the post in whatever the language we had most people. So it was mostly expats. So first would be English, and then on the bottom would be the translation in Chinese. And so Chinese people were welcome to come, like that didn't know very much English. And it was really awesome having that, you know, so, and also it's less stress.
Yeah.
And by the way, Celine, 50 people in a group, that's a good stress.
Yeah,
that's a good
I know.
problem to have. You should feel very proud of yourself.
Can I just say something to Celine? Yeah. Hi, Celine. So I have a really lovely French Canadian yoga teacher friend, and she does her posts on Facebook. She just has like one group that links everybody to her group, but she'll do her post in French and she'll do it in English. I can send you a link to her page so that you can kind of see what she's doing, if that would be helpful for you. And she's a really beautiful teacher, so it'd be nice to connect you with her.
Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you guys.
Right. So yeah. So moving forward, you could always like key in the interests of your target audience. You could key in their behavior, like for instance, their digital activities, whether they're gamers, if in case that's something you'd be interested in. Obviously, you could key in what sort of browser they're using. These sort of key factors here are specific for the ones that, for instance, if you may have like a yoga application that you're launching in the future, or if you have like, say if you have like a shopping application for your yoga mats and whatnot, if in case you'll do that in the future, these are things that you could also kind of filter on here. Yeah. So expats, as you mentioned earlier, Celine, here, families who live abroad, things like that. You could always filter that on here as well. Yeah, so there's so much things that you could key in as far as the targeting is concerned.
I see that Danielle Ryan is here.
Oh,
so if you don't mind, give us a rundown on what we can do or what should we expect regarding these new rules on Facebook regarding the
absolutely.
iOS.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, so just recently, Facebook has changed its policies in terms of advertising. So as far as users who are using iPhones, if they were to prohibit Facebook from tracking them, basically, what Facebook will not be able to it will not be able to put in their metrics as to whether the user that view this ad is female, it wouldn't be showing the demographic of the person that owns an iPhone, if that makes sense. So if you were to run an ad and it was, let me put it this way. So if I use an iPhone and then you're trying to target me as your prospect client, you will see that I have seen the ad. I may have interacted with the ad, but you will not be able to know whether I was female, whether I was male, whether I was 25 or whether I was 60. So Facebook will not be able, you will not be able to see that on your metrics now. So that's kind of like, it's not really good for kind of creating, say, a mirror audience in the lookalike audience in the future. But as far as just putting your name out there, if that's the only goal of the ad, that's okay. Does that make sense? So that's one of the changes that Facebook and Apple has rolled out in this past few weeks. Hopefully there will be changes wherein that can be bypassed, but for the time being, it's how it is for now. Right.
Awesome.
I'll quickly move forward to finishing up the ad. 1 second.
So yeah. I guess we don't need to, I feel like I spent quite a bit of time on the internet, getting the Facebook ads all ready for iOS, and with your help as well, with the pixels and the aggregated, what is it called? The aggregated.
Which one is it?
There's 2 steps, but anyway.
Aggregated, like data aggregation? Yeah,
something like that. But I think it got cleared up because we've been able to do ads now.
Exactly. So here, okay, so once you're done with that, once you're done setting your audience, you'd be asked the duration as to how long would you want to run the ad. It's up to you if you want to do a week, a few days, that's fine. It really depends on you. What I would highly recommend though, for you to be able to track a clear sort of metric result, I would suggest at least doing a week. If you want to run an ad, if you want to boost a post, it's fine if you do it for just a day, if it's just engagement that you're up to. But if you want to sort of put the brand out there, if you want to try to get leads, at least you do 7 days. And then on here, you'd be asked if you want to do a limit per day. And then on this point, you'd be asked as to which sections on the platforms would you want the ads to appear, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Messenger. Pixel is for tracking specific activities or events if you were to link the ad to a specific web page or landing page. Since the ad that we're trying to set up today, which is lead generation, that does not lead the users to a specific landing page, obviously you don't need to turn that on. And then obviously your card here. And then promote now is for you to run the ad. And that's pretty much it. It's that easy, actually. Yeah, it's so much easier than how it was before.
Well, thank you very, very much for that.
Of course. Do you guys have any questions? Let me just close this real quick.
One quick question.
Yes, go for it. Absolutely.
When it comes to budgeting, what is your sort of recommended amount that you want to spend on a budget per day or per week on promotion? Is there like a set sort of amount that has been a more like, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, has been like a good amount to be able to like promote, or does it matter?
It does matter. So if you want to just boost an ad, it would really depend. So boost would be, as I mentioned, just engagement, likes, shares, comments. It doesn't really matter. If you're happy with getting, say, 300 likes for a post, then I guess it would depend on the target market. You could go as low as $5, $10, depends on you. But then if you'd want certain goals to be attained, for instance, that lead generation, I would suggest doing at least $25 per day for 7 days. If you want to do website visits, I would highly recommend doing a pay-per-click instead of per impression. You could do as low as $25 as well to start. Only because if you do an ad that would be lesser than 25 per day, you might not be able to get a good metric at the end. This is to start, I'm saying, for you to be able to have good data at the end of the ad campaign, that data you could use for future ads. And then from there, you'd be able to gauge as to how much would be logical to spend on your future ads. Does that answer your question? Perfect.
That's awesome, Glenn. Thank you so much for dropping in
Of
and
course.
helping us with this topic. And
Absolutely.
yeah, if anyone is interested in learning more, please find Glenn on Instagram, right?
Or you guys can shoot me an email, I guess.
Oh, an email. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.
All right. See ya. Enjoy.
Thank
Bye.
you so much. You too. All right. So, yeah, that was a little quick rundown on Facebook ads. There's a lot more that goes into it. There's a lot more behind it, but this is definitely a solution if you want to grow your tribe. And it's a very effective way to grow your audience in an affordable way, especially if you know how Facebook works. And I started with my first ad when I did Gaosheng Yogi in Taiwan, the little group in the park. I was doing ads for the first time was when we did our very, very first teacher training in my apartment in 2014 in Taiwan. And yeah, Facebook is always changing, and it's good to be up on the new rules and what's new and everything. So you stay within budget and you can be effective with attracting your dream students and the people that should be in your courses and, you know, online challenges if you're running a challenge. I see you have your hand up, Ari. Did you have another question?
No, that was from ages ago.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Screen sharing, sorry.
No worries. I just want to make sure before we move on to the next topic. So I see that Danielle's here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm thrilled that she is here. She is a yogipreneur, and she's going to help us with some solutions on how we can grow our audience, how we can own the lifestyle business of our dreams. She has a lifestyle business. Actually, she'll tell you about her business. I don't want to spoil it. Danielle, welcome. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. So like Farah mentioned, my name's Danielle. In 2018, I left my full-time corporate job and attended Farah's yoga teacher training in Portugal. Came home, bought 10 yoga mats, 10 blocks, and launched a mobile yoga business. So that was sort of the first rendition. And since then, my partner and I purchased our first home, and I converted part of the living space into a private studio.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. So now I work primarily one-on-one teaching private yoga classes, as well as like corporate events and stuff like that. So I also run an online yoga membership as part of my business. So essentially people get access to live yoga classes via Zoom, as well as life coaching videos and coaching calls and stuff like that. So really helping people to start to figure it out, what it is they want with their life, and sort of take those next steps to make it a reality. I spent a long time feeling really stuck and unsatisfied with the life that I had. And I want to afford people who feel that same way the opportunity to get out of that situation. So that's kind
amazing.
Of Cliff Notes version of what I do.
You are such an inspiration, Danielle. For people that follow you, you know, I know your audience are millennials, and I'm so proud of you. You are really helping your people in a big way. You're, you know, spreading hope and happiness, positivity, good vibes in your community. I'm super proud of you.
Thank you so much.
And I think it's interesting that your name of the studio is Lifestyle by Design, isn't that right?
Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit about why you came up with that name?
Honestly, so people will ask me this, especially people that want like business advice from me. And I'm like, I had a dream one day, and in the dream, that name sort of came to me, and it felt like a good fit because really I sort of live by the principle that we all have this opportunity to really create our own lives. And so Lifestyle by Design is intentional in the sense that I'm helping my clients to really figure out like, what is it that I want for my life and how can I make that a reality?
I love that. That is so important for all of us. And it is I'm very impressed with what you've done with your lifestyle business. And, you know, I've seen you from the beginning and how you were so consistent with going live on Facebook. I think you were going live on Instagram in the beginning. Is that right?
Yeah, I used to do lives every Friday afternoon. I'd call them lunchtime life chats, and we would just sit and talk every single Friday. I did that for probably like 6 months.
It was really inspirational to see you commit to that and to stay true to your goals. And, you know, it was amazing to watch. And I think it's a great example of, you know, I teach my students about what's in your hand already. Well, we all have, you know, a device, and we can just speak to our audience on Facebook Live or Instagram Live. You don't need a fancy website to start. You really don't. Do you
For
have
sure.
any maybe some stories, or where did you get, you know, this idea to go live every Friday that you were saying?
Yeah. So basically, I think that when it comes to being successful on social media, successful, however we want to define that, but creating community and creating that connection, we really have to get clear on, I always like to go by like, what are the 3 pillars of my business? What are the 3 things that I'm here to teach people? Yoga, you know, being intentional about your lifestyle, and then making it fun. And so I try to talk about those 3 things in some way every single day. And then with the lives, that was sort of just a way for me to create that connection, because as part of my business, and Farah, you know this, I also host a podcast. So I release weekly podcast episodes every single Monday. But that's very one-sided for me because I'm talking to my microphone, I post the episode, and I get feedback from people like, oh, your episode was so helpful and whatever, but I'm not creating that connection. And so I think that when it comes to building a lifestyle brand, people want to feel like they know you as a person, right? So with the live video, it affords people that opportunity to feel like we're both sitting down having this conversation. So I sort of sat down and mapped out 30 ideas that I had for live videos. And then it was like, so it kind of took the work out of it for me. I would sit down on a Friday and be like, oh, you know what? I have this list here. Today I want to talk about, you know, facing your fears. So then I could just sit down, turn the camera on, and see who showed up for the conversation. And it's quite incredible because even if it's just 1 or 2 people, you're building that connection. And really, I think that oftentimes we get so obsessed with this idea that I need 10,000 or 20,000 followers, but it really starts with building that one-on-one connection with this person and that person and that person, who then tells their 5 friends and whoever, and it grows from there. And if
Absolutely.
we can focus more on, you know, the first 10 followers versus the first 100, it makes it a lot easier, I think.
I totally agree of the importance of giving customer care to, you know, a couple of people or 1 person, and providing high valuable service to them and helping them with their pain points, help give them the solutions to their problems, help give solutions to what keeps them up at night. And when you show up as the humble yoga teacher or the humble helper, what happens is this cascading effect of the friends, family, friends of friends, the father, the brother, everyone just kind of comes in, and then you don't even need to do Facebook advertising anymore.
And that's it. I think I was actually having this discussion last week. I had a former client of mine leave me like a really incredible review on Google, just randomly. And so I went on Instagram and I was like, hey friends, like, I want you to go and leave a review for your favorite local business, because word of mouth, especially in this industry, is huge. Like if Sally down the street is saying that I'm her favorite yoga teacher, and then Brenda goes and reads that, she's like, oh, well, maybe I'll give Danielle's class a try. Like, maybe it's pretty good. I'll see what it's like. Versus me just on Instagram being like, come to my yoga class, hire me, I'm the best. You
So
need
true.
to build that community and that connection with people so that they can be the ones to vouch for you.
Absolutely. That's the most important thing, I think, as well, is building community and connection. It's not about, oh, I'm the yoga teacher and you must follow my, dogma or my, style or whatever. No, we have to throw that out the window, and it's community first and building connection, even if it's starting one-on-one with one person. As Danielle was sharing, she was delivering, even if one person showed up, it doesn't matter. She was still, just, this pouring of compassion and care into these people that would show up to her weekly lives. That's amazing.
Exactly. And then I find too, oftentimes I'll like randomly get messages from people who I didn't even know were like in my circle. And it's like, oh, you've been watching me this whole time. So it's also keeping in mind that just because people aren't actively engaging with your content or talking to you or commenting on your stuff,
I love that.
They're there.
Such an important reminder. You are making a difference in the world by showing up. Definitely. Definitely. 110%. Absolutely. So our time is closing soon, but Danielle, do you have any maybe recommendations or best practices that you can share with new yoga teachers that are wanting to launch online and build a lifestyle business?
Yeah. So absolutely, coming back to this idea of like your core pillars. So I would try to think of like the 3 to 5 things that you want to be known for. And I really encourage you as well to get as specific as possible, because oftentimes we tend to think like, I'm just going to say I'm a yoga teacher, and then people are going to want to come to me. And we're afraid that if we say I'm a yoga teacher who specializes in, I don't know, digestive disorders, well, then I'm casting away anyone who doesn't have a digestive disorder, right? Whereas if we can speak to that one person, it's actually a lot more effective, because we're, again, coming back to this idea, we're capturing that one person, those 2 people, those 5 people, versus I have an audience of 1,000 people, but nobody really cares about general yoga, right? So it's about getting as specific as possible, figuring out what those 3 to 5 things are, and then talking about them all the time. Because we think that if I show up on Instagram every day and I'm talking about my yoga for sore backs, people are going to get tired of it. But you have to remember that everyone cares about what's going on in their life. They're not specifically sitting here watching Danielle being like, oh my God, she's talking about this again. So you kind of have to like be annoying to yourself, because you're not being annoying to other people. And it's a little bit of a mind game, I think, to remember that fact, that not everyone is as obsessed with you as you are obsessed with you. In the nicest way possible.
I totally understand what you're saying. To remember to, put a little more time in your bio for your webpage, or put a little more extra information in there about the things that you are sharing, and, what books you're reading, or, this kind of thing, because you just never know what people are needing and looking for. It could be a tiny little thing, and, it's in your bio, and that's why they're contacting you.
For sure. And if you're kind of stuck on that, like, what is my thing that I help people with? I always do like the I help statement. So I help pick that person that you're talking to. For me, it's millennials, solve blank, or I help millennials with blank. So for me, figuring out what their purpose is using movement and mindset. So like, I help millennials figure out what their purpose is using movement and mindset. That's mine, but you can use that fill in the blank for yours. I help blank with insert problem here.
I love that. That's so good. Well, thank you very much, Danielle. Is there any last, final thoughts or anything that you wanted to let us know about what you're working on or what's new?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to sort of carry on the conversation, you can come and follow me on Instagram. That's at Lifestyle by Design Studio. And I'm happy to answer any other questions that come up for you after the fact. So just shoot me a direct message there and we can chat one-on-one specifically kind of about where you're sort of stuck at if you're finding that.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Danielle. And thank you for giving a bit of your time in, well, it's Sunday, isn't it? It's kind of a sacrifice. So I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you so much. And thank you for the little confetti thing. I don't know how you did that, but see you later.
Bye, Danielle. Thank you so much. All right. So before we wrap up here, does anybody have any questions or anything before? There's something that I want to show you. Can you see my screen? Yeah, you can. Okay, wonderful. So before we go, I just wanted to go over this quickly. I am giving you an invitation to the Breakthroughs Acceleration Tribe. I launched this about, I guess, 9 weeks ago, and it's a like-hearted community of Yogipreneurs, fierce females, and it starts May 18th and it goes until July 16th. This is mentoring with the team at Bend It Like Buddha and experts such as Glenn with advertising on Facebook. And every week we meet for a Zoom call and we discuss any pain points that you might be having or any roadblocks, and we help you get through those. And there's replays in the private group. This is a group to help remove your blind spots and obstacles. I'll also be sharing effective online challenge marketing strategies. This is the most effective way to launch your retreats, launch your workshops, or anything that you want more students to attend. And I'm going to talk about the challenge framework a little bit more tomorrow. You also received the 30-question niche finder worksheet to help really pinpoint your audience. This is crucial for saving time and money. Also, these 9 weeks will be weekly mapping out your next online launch. So making sure you have the pieces in place before you launch your product or your service. Every month we have a live miracle mindset inner confidence mentoring. This is through Zoom, and the way that we do this is through reflecting and reading an empowering, best-selling female entrepreneur book, such as Girl Boss by Amoroso or Girl Wash Your Hands by Hollis. In this package, it also includes a 1-day live workshop, or it's laptops open, and click by click, we screen share, and we go into either your website or your funnel or your Facebook ads, and we help you with the tech skills, everything from Zoom to social media. We help you with your website scripts. When you have that script in your hand, there's a framework for the script. And when you infuse your messaging to your tribe in your website script, it's super powerful. You just need to sit down one time and write it, and you can literally take paragraphs out and infuse it into your social media, into your email copy. So it really helps to save time when you have these scripts. Also, you can use them for your video scripts when you're launching new products. So another thing that you'll have is the yoga teacher virtual training. This is 12 days online. So you'll have behind the scenes access to what happens at Bend It Like Buddha in Portugal, where it's like a real TTC, and there's a new teacher. We have 8 teachers that participate in our in-person teacher trainings, and you'll just watch it unfold. It's quite an amazing experience. It's like a backstage pass. Also with this package, you'll receive the Usui Reiki training. So if you already have level 1, you would receive your level 2. And we do this virtually. So you'll be learning things such as how to body scan, how to clear, how to give Reiki to yourself and to others. You'll learn the sacred symbols of Reiki, and depending on the level that you're at, and also invocations, prayers. How do you, create a sacred space for your students before you give a Reiki attunement, let's say, or a Reiki healing session. And I do have a fast action bonus for people. If they do sign up today, they will receive 2 Reiki levels. So if you have never had the Reiki training before, if you sign up today, you'll receive the Reiki level 1 training and the Reiki level 2 training. And with this package, you'll also receive all the bonuses offered during the bonuses that were offered at this 5-day resource your life purpose journey. So basically, it's a 9-week training where you go deeper and much more detailed in the training. It's somewhat like this. However, there's more accountability and there's more follow-up with homework, helping you to move through those fear blocks you might have, or any resistance you have with a certain angle to your business that is absolutely necessary for you to push through and for you to receive the lifestyle business of your dreams. Essentially, we all have to get past or move through our fears. It's completely normal to be fearful sometimes. And it's a lot easier when you're with like-minded people and people who have done it before, and people who have experience and knowledge and training, a lot of training. I've certainly been through a lot of training this year to help deliver an excellent course. You'll also receiving some bonuses, such as the Online Yoga Alliance 200-hour training, the blueprint, and also you'll receive the online yoga business course. It's called the Pegasus, and it's a virtual 35-hour course with 12 speakers and branding experts. And so this is valued over $9,000. And today we are offering it for only €299, or you can access the payment plan for $99 per month for 3 months. So expires on Wednesday, March 19th. And also please keep in mind, if you are thinking about this, to sign up today so you can receive the fast action bonus. And also please keep in mind that if you sign up today, for example, we start right on May 18th for a Zoom call, an orientation for the Breakthroughs, the new members of the Breakthroughs Tribe Acceleration. So does anyone have any questions about that, or anything that I mentioned that you're wondering about? Is that pretty clear? Okay, great. Well, I'd love to thank you all so much for being here today. And it's really inspiring to see you move past your fears. And yeah, it can be scary, right? But you are all demonstrating courage, and you're all being faithful to your heart song, your heart desire. And So remember to give yourself a lot of credit and, give yourself that pat on the back, practice self-care and take care of yourself and guard the thoughts, keep your thoughts positive, keep them hopeful, and keep them energized and, inspired for great things to come. So we meet here again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Portugal time and 4 p.m. as well. So I'm gonna land the plane, so to speak. Thank you so much for being here, and I wish you all a lovely day. Namaste. Love y'all.